to be invited back. I was here a year ago. It was a really interesting, challenging and enjoyable session. One of the speakers that I shared the platform with on that occasion came out to music and smoke and lots of theatre and drama, but no smoke and mirrors from me today. I think what's really enjoyable about coming here is seeing so many people, as Lynn said, that are passionate about further education and skills. And believe it or not, I am deeply passionate about further education and skills. One of the reasons perhaps is because I've benefited absolutely from a vocational, truly vocational educational experience in a fantastic and outstanding College of Further Education. And I owe so much of my subsequent career to that time in my life when I was making some really serious choices about what I was going to do. Set against a context of a sister who was highly performing academic student, and I was always known as my sister's brother. And still today we talk and reflect back on our different career paths, but vocational education did me no harm, far from it. So I want to talk today about effective leadership in further education and skills, because it's very clear from all of our inspection findings that leadership is pivotal to the quality of provision. It's therefore also pivotal to the impact on the provision, on learners' achievements and their progression to employment and to further learning. Nearly every single recent OFSTED survey report, such as the one on apprenticeships, local accountability and careers guidance, clearly state that learners get a better deal where leaders understand that specific issue and they are committed to it and they prioritise it. And as Lynn said, leadership is never easy. It's particularly complex and challenging in FE and skills today. Whether a college principal or a governor or a managing director, leadership is not a straightforward role. On inspection, I've met many a senior manager seemingly gliding on the surface. But as you know, there's a frantic peddling behind the scenes. And that's not just because of the inspection. And then there's the budget pulling against the demand for resources, the college agenda going in one direction while government policy seemingly hurls it overnight towards another. The learners are saying one thing, the staff another, and then what about the employers? So what do you have to do to achieve effective leadership? Last year, Sir Michael Wilshaw highlighted in his second annual report 12 providers who were judged to be outstanding at their previous inspection. They prove that effective leadership is possible. What I found really encouraging is the very different context that the 13 providers that were awarded outstanding for overall effectiveness last year. From the Working Men's College with 3,000 part-time learners at or below level 1 in North London, to CITB with 5,500 apprentices up and down the country, from the Seashell Trust with 52 learners with very complex needs, to Walsall College with 10,000 learners across all 15 subject areas. It's encouraging because these providers show that it is possible to be outstanding in any type of provider with any number of learners. Size doesn't matter. In every single one of these providers, leadership was very effective indeed. If you read their inspection reports or look at their websites, you'll see that not only leaders, but staff at every level know where they're going. And by this I mean that they have a very clear vision or a mission that is their driver. I don't mean simply a collection of jargon-filled phrases that sound like a strapline for a commercial. I mean a real sense of purpose that every member of staff understands and translates into their everyday work. We mustn't lose sight of the power of that sense of purpose. In 2014 and beyond, the purpose of any government-funded provision must be to support local communities, provide greater social cohesion and support economic growth. There's no doubt that the landscape for FE has changed significantly so for the 16 to 18 age group. Performance measures are rightly becoming more about people and not just about qualifications. Destinations and retention rates are now becoming just as important. It is, of course, far too early to get a real feel for the full impact of the study programmes. But surely it's easier to have a sense of purpose when the aim of the programme is to work closely with learners to help them identify a career pathway and then spend the next couple of years or so to help them on their way to their next step. Qualifications are and always will be an important measure of achievement for individuals. But for an institution, making sure that learners complete their programmes and progress to further learning and employment has now become a critical piece of the jigsaw in terms of performance measures. But the mission for the sector as a whole simply has to be to reduce the number of young people who are unemployed or even underemployed by being overqualified perhaps for the job that they're doing. That long-term unemployment among those aged 18 to 24 is growing faster than any other age group is unacceptable. These young people must be a priority. FE and skills provision must enable them to continue on a suitable career pathway and not allow them to drift into potential insecurity and uncertainty. Leadership is therefore even more about getting the curriculum right. The challenge to leaders is to be critical about your current curriculum and be prepared to change it and to use your resources flexibly. Be sure that you can only do this, but surely you can only do this if you know your community, its social and financial challenges and its developmental needs. This should be where you will find the purpose of your institution, its mission and its direction for every member of staff. In his annual report last year, Sir Michael challenged the sector to justify the numbers of learners in each subject area. I recognise that this can seem like a big ask, but isn't that what local accountability is all about? Knowing your patch and matching the curriculum to its needs, but also recognising that all partners need to be involved, be they employers, other FE and skills providers, schools, academies, UTCs, local authorities and other community players. This is why Sir Michael has challenged the government to provide local accountability for the post-16 curriculum. He recognises that a significant barrier to planning post-16 provision is the lack of accountability for the range and relevance of provision in a specific geographical area. It's clear that, at the moment, however, no one has the strategic responsibility for ensuring that local provision supports local economic and social need. However, we do know that many leaders know their patch extremely well and have matched their curriculum accordingly. The 16 to 19 study programmes have provided the structure for more providers to follow their example. We've also seen excellent examples of a very flexible curriculum for post-19 provision, albeit on a much smaller scale. But this is where providers and employers work together to design short, bespoke programmes, often for unemployed adults, to directly link to a forthcoming recruitment drive. And the outcome? High progression to jobs for learners, well-prepared new recruits for employers, and a sense of achievement for the provider. A win-win for all sides. More importantly, local people are given local jobs. But leadership doesn't just mean having the right curriculum. I just wanted to draw your attention to some words from Andrew Miller, Principal and Chief Exec of Swindon College. And he outlined some of the key factors in taking the college through to outstanding. An unrelenting focus on the needs of learners and how to improve teaching and learning. Really effective distributive leadership across the college. Good overview and support from governors and a good understanding by governors of teaching and learning. Really effective support structures to improve teaching across the whole of the college. A system of action plans and learning coaches to support teachers to move up from good. A strong performance management system to ensure teaching is at least good across the board. Leaders need to be clear about the institution's purpose so that it provides direction for all staff, and that they need to ensure that the curriculum offered is right to support local communities. But as Andrew has showed, leaders also have a clear responsibility for ensuring that what goes on in the classroom, the workshop, the training site, or the workplace is of the highest quality. This is of utmost importance. But isn't it easy to provide higher quality teaching, learning and assessment if, as a teacher or training, you have the same sense of purpose? If you understand the aims of the institution clearly, the curriculum as a whole and the programs you are teaching, and you can see their value. This is the way that we can also work with your learners and agree with them, their own sense of purpose and their own direction to help them to achieve. And for Ofsted, so where does Ofsted go from here? The Chief Inspector this morning is making some crucial announcements about the future of inspection within Ofsted. What he's going to say is that there is a need for schools and further education and skills inspection frameworks to come even closer together to recognise those challenges between the age groups of certainly 14 to 19. He's also going to say there is a need to have shorter, more frequent inspection for good and outstanding providers. No more is that relevant than in further education and skills. Is it right that we sit back and see an outstanding institution plummet from outstanding to inadequate without taking any action before it's too late? Let's get in there and let's support providers much more frequently. And longer inspections for those where we do have concerns. And a continuing use of Her Majesty's inspectors to help guide, support, challenge providers, but most importantly, to continue to share that good practice that we see day in, day out on all of our inspections. I hope that you welcome those changes that we're going to be making in the future, and I hope that you are engaged also in the debate. The final thing I wanted to say is that you will have seen this week a launch of a consultation to introduce the sixth form grade within a school inspection, levelling the playing field even further. I think we all agree that that's the right thing to do, but I don't need you to sit round here nodding at these tables agreeing. I need you to pick up your pen and I need you to respond to the consultation, because without the feedback from the whole of the sector, it won't happen. Thank you.